Welcome to Bloodstained Stories, where we dive deep into the dark and gripping world of true crime. I'm your host, Joseph, and today we're exploring the chilling case of the Angel of Death, Charles Edmund Cullen. A former nurse, Cullen confessed to murdering at least 40 patients during his 16-year career, though the actual number may be much higher. Using his access to medications, he quietly administered lethal doses, betraying the trust placed in him by vulnerable patients and their families. Join me as we uncover the details of Cullen's horrifying crimes, the investigation that finally stopped him, and the broader implications for healthcare safety. Are you ready to journey into the heart of true crime? Let's get started. In the dimly lit corridors of New Jersey's Somerset Medical Center, a sinister presence lurked behind the reassuring facade of a nurse's uniform. Charles Cullen, a seemingly compassionate caregiver, was revealed to be one of the most prolific serial killers in American history. His crimes, spanning 16 years and multiple states, claimed the lives of at least 29 patients, though some estimates suggest the true number may be in the hundreds. This is the chilling story of a man whose facade of benevolence masked a heart steeped in darkness. Charles Edmund Cullen was born on February 22, 1960, in West Orange, New Jersey. The youngest of 8 children, Cullen's early life was marred by tragedy and instability. His father died when he was only 7 months old, and his mother, to whom he was deeply attached, passed away in a car accident when he was 17. This loss plunged Cullen into a deep depression, marking the beginning of his lifelong struggle with mental health issues. Cullen graduated from nursing school in 1986 and began working at St. Barnabas Medical Center in Livingston, New Jersey. It was here that he committed his first known murder in 1988, administering a lethal dose of medication to a patient. Over the next decade and a half, Cullen moved through 9 different hospitals and nursing homes across New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Each institution became an unwitting backdrop to his killing spree. Cullen's method was insidiously simple. He administered lethal doses of medications such as digoxin, insulin, and epinephrine to unsuspecting patients. These drugs, often difficult to detect in autopsies, allowed Cullen to evade suspicion for years. His position as a nurse afforded him access to vulnerable patients and the means to end their lives quietly. Despite the alarming number of deaths and the red flags raised by colleagues, Cullen managed to elude detection. Hospitals, wary of potential lawsuits, often chose to terminate his employment rather than investigate further. This lack of accountability enabled his deadly career to continue unabated. However, in 2003, Cullen's luck began to run out. Suspicious patterns of patient deaths and discrepancies in medication records at Somerset Medical Center prompted an internal investigation. When Cullen's tampering with 4 bags was discovered, the hospital contacted authorities. On December 12, 2003, Charles Cullen was arrested. Faced with overwhelming evidence, he confessed to murdering at least 40 patients over his 16-year career. During interrogations, Cullen claimed his actions were acts of mercy, intending to alleviate the suffering of his patients. However, many of his victims were not terminally ill, and some were on the path to recovery, casting doubt on his justification. In 2006, Cullen was sentenced to 11 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole, ensuring he would never again walk free. His willingness to cooperate with authorities in identifying his victims did little to mitigate the horror of his actions. Charles Cullen's psyche is a complex tapestry of trauma, depression, and delusion. Experts suggest that his early experiences of loss and instability profoundly impacted his mental health. Cullen's repeated suicide attempts and long history of depression underscore his profound psychological distress. His claims of mercy killings suggest a delusional belief in his role as a benefactor, though this self-perception is starkly contradicted by the indiscriminate nature of his crimes. The Charles Cullen case exposed significant flaws in the healthcare system's ability to detect and prevent such crimes. It led to the implementation of stricter protocols for monitoring medication administration and reporting suspicious behavior. Hospitals now employ more robust background checks and have improved their tracking of nurse licensure and employment histories. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Bloodstained Stories as we delved into the terrifying case of the Angel of Death, Charles Cullen. If you found this deep dive into one of the most unsettling healthcare-related serial killer cases compelling, please subscribe and leave a review. Your support helps us bring more in-depth true crime stories to you. Follow us on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes content. Have a theory or a case you'd like us to cover? We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep exploring the mysteries of the true crime world.